I stepped off that plane with hope in my heart and uncertainty in my steps. America, the land of dreams where opportunity meets determination. But what happens when the dreamer is not ready for the price tag? The friend who promised to host stopped picking calls. Hotels? $150 a night. Rent? First and last month's deposit. Application fees, background check, co-signer. I found myself sitting outside with my luggage, the weight of reality crushing my dreams. Eggs are $5. Bread is $4? I began calculating in Naira and almost fainted. Do you have work authorization? Do you have experience in the US? Can you start today? I was overwhelmed, unprepared, and undocumented for any real employment. I thought getting here was the hard part. I didn't realize surviving here was the real battle. Pride made it hard to call home. How do you explain that the American dream turned into a silent nightmare? I cried most nights. I felt like a disappointment. Nobody talks about this part. But then I met a kind Nigerian in a church who gave me direction, connected me to a shelter, and helped me find my footing slowly. That's when I realized, you don't prepare for America by just dreaming. You prepare by planning, studying, saving, and connecting. The journey is tough, but with the right support and mindset, it's possible to turn things around.
So you want to relocate to the US. Maybe you have already picked a city. Maybe you have even started the visa process. You have probably heard that relocating to America is expensive. But what does that actually mean? In this video, I'm breaking down the real cost of relocating to the US from Nigeria in 2025 so you can plan wisely and avoid surprises. I am Pastor Tusin. Welcome to Nigeria in America podcast.
Walking with purpose, rising with grace.
All right, let's start with what you will spend before you ever step your foot on the plane. These are your pre-location costs. Visa application. First up, your visa. Whether you're applying for a student visa, visitor visa, or a work visa, you will need to pay a visa application fee. Most range between $150 and $270 thereabout, and it keeps changing depending on the visa type. If you're applying for a student visa, there's another cost called the service fee. And if you are working with an immigration lawyer or a consultant, that's another bill entirely that you need to factor in. Let's talk about medical. Yes, I know you are healthy, but either you like it or not, some visa types, especially green card applications, require a full medical examination from an approved clinic. It's not cheap, and you will need to get blood tests, vaccinations, and sometimes chest x-rays. Make sure to confirm this early so that it doesn't surprise you. You need an international passport. If yours has expired or even close to it, you need to renew it as soon as possible. Then, depending on your visa type, you might need to submit your transcripts, letters of admission, or have your Nigerian certificates evaluated through services like WES. And when I'm talking about WES, I mean WES. That evaluation alone can cost nothing less than $200 or even more. Then, of course, you need to buy your flight ticket. I don't see any way you are going to get to the United States without a flight ticket. And that means from Lagos to whatever city you are going to relocate to in the US. You are looking at anywhere between 1.2 million and 3 million naira for a one-way ticket. Sometimes more, depending on the time of the year and how early you book. One thing a lot of people forget is proof of funds. This is especially important for student and tourist visas. You will be asked to show bank statements proving you can support yourself in the US. This could mean anywhere from 5 million to 50 million sitting in your account, depending on your visa and school requirement. And here is the thing. It's not just about having money. It's about being able to show it in the right format. If your account suddenly has millions that were not there before, they will ask questions and you need to be strategic. So let's start with the rent you have landed. In most cases and in most places, landlords will ask for your first month's rent plus a security deposit upfront. The 2 months of rent in one payment, sometimes 3 to 6 months security deposit because you are new in the country. Now, rent prices vary depending on where you move to. In more affordable states like Texas or Georgia, expect to pay around $900 to $1,300 a month. But in expensive states like New York or California, rent can shoot up to $1,500 to $2,500 a month easily. And I'm talking of dollar, not naira. And if you don't already have a place arranged, you will need temporary housing like an Airbnb or hotel when you arrive. That alone could cost you $500 to $1,000 a week, depending again on the city. You have to talk about transportation. Unless you are moving to a city with good public transport, you probably need a car. A cheap used car might cost you $3,000 to $6,000, but don't forget to add registration cost, insurance, and maybe a local license. If you are not ready to buy a car right away, you rely on Uber or Lyft, which can get expensive very fast. Even simple trips to the place where you are getting a job or the church can eat up your budget quickly. Now let's talk about food because you still have to eat. In your first month, expect to spend about $250 to $500 on grocery, depending on your city again and your lifestyle. If you are in an area with African stores, you find familiar items, but they will cost more than they do when you were back home or in Nigeria. Don't forget this. And so many of us, we are not used to the food that is in America, so we depend heavily on African food, and they are more expensive in America. You will need a SIM card as soon as you land because you will need to communicate. A basic phone plan might cost you $30 to $50 per month. If you don't already have a compatible phone, you might need to buy one. Budget around $100 to $300 for basic phone, and I'm talking about used one. Also, if you are renting, most places don't come with Wi-Fi. You will have to set that up yourself. That's another monthly bill to plan for. You can see that it's already adding up. So here is the reality. Even if your visa gets approved, even if your flight is booked, if you don't budget for your first 1 to 3 months in America, even 6 months, things could run very quickly and you will run into stress very quickly. And don't forget, you probably won't start working immediately, especially if you are on a student visa or waiting for your work authorization. So having enough money to survive that transition period is absolutely important, is key. Now, when you talk about the reality check, if you watch the video we have showed you when this video was going to start, you will see a brother who thought America was where you pick everything on the floor and then you can get by once you arrive in America. He found out in a hard way. He had to weep, he had to cry, he was helpless, he was stranded. And you don't want to have yourself in that kind of position where you become so stranded. You will need ongoing financial buffer and there are hidden costs. Now let's talk about something a lot of people overlook, your financial cushion, your financial, it's like a platform where you can depend on. This is the money that keeps you afloat after your first few weeks in the U.S., especially if things don't go exactly as planned. Unlike the brother in the video, things may not go as you have planned. Even if they will go as you have planned, there are still certain things that will not be where you want it to be. Don't forget, the truth is, even if you budget perfectly, things can take time. That's why I recommend having at least 3 to 6 months of basic living expenses saved before you move. This will include your rent, your food, your transportation, and other essentials for most people. That means saving around $3,000 to $16,000 at minimum for every month living expenses. That cushion gives you peace of mind while you settle in, while you figure things out, and while you start building your life without panic. Now let's talk about credit history. Here is one important thing people don't expect when they move to America, because in Nigeria, you buy everything cash. Everything is cash driven. But in America, it's all about credit history and the credit history in the US. So if you don't have a credit score yet, you might be asked to pay extra deposit for things like housing, utilities, or even to get a phone contract. So give yourself some breathing room. It's better to arrive over-prepared than being under-prepared. Don't be overwhelmed. So there you have it. Relocation is possible, and it can be the best decision of your life, but it takes wisdom. It takes patience, proper planning. My advice is don't rush. Don't rush, don't guess. Count the cost and move smart. And this I will also tell you, you will need to cut down, you will need to be prudent if you are going to live well with your expenses. So if you found this video helpful, do me a favor, share with someone also who is thinking of relocating, and don't forget to subscribe. Drop your questions in the comments and I will do my best to respond. See you in the next video.
Walking with purpose, rising with grace, faith and family, we find